Hey everybody, it's Durker Time, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Azteca Underground. Welcome back to the temple. It's been a little bit of time since we've done an episode. It's been hard to kind of put these out, so apologies for the delay. But we are midway through our season, and we are hitting on a lot of weird stuff going on. Last episode, we had all the medallions except for one with a secret challenger going to go out there, and of course we have pretty much all of them except for death accounted for in these tournaments. And of course we're gonna have a big elimination match tonight. In the meantime, though, we also had Holly again losing to Thunder Rosa and then getting a dark offer from LaRue about if she's willing to do what it takes to win, being granted a power deep inside her. And finally, and also, I shouldn't say finally, we had Guatemala trying to slay Drago. Dragon Lee comes in to save him, and Pentagon Dark, after winning his medallion, sees a dark figure, a specter of his past that shocks him. So a lot of little things going on here. Without any more preamble, let's go ahead, let's get to the show, because we got a lot to book. All right, we're here back at the temple for another episode. We do have some backstage incidents. Oh boy, that's going to be a problem. Sexy Star versus Ivelisse or some kind of drama. Sexy Star caused an incident when she antagonized Ivelisse so much that a fight broke out between the two. We will find them. She's unhappy. Just, jeez. Conan got into a heated argument with a fan outside the arena and had to be restrained before he made things physical. Stern warning. Jeez. You have an absent worker. Gage is out injured, so we're waiting for him to come back at some point. I'll open forum and just let everyone rant. It's the best way to do it. There we go. All right, we are going to be in the temple. We're expecting 374 fans in attendance. And we got some stuff booked, so let's go ahead, let's get into it, and let's see if we can get the show rolling. Going to be probably taken up a lot by the elimination match. It's going to be a pretty big match. So I expect this to kind of take up most of the show, but we're going to try to get some good character moments inside there too. So let's go ahead and let's see. Alright guys, we are ready to enter the temple for another episode of Azteca Underground here. 64 minutes out of the 65. We got about 60% matches. Actually, 69% matches, so we're in pretty good shape. We actually got 3 matches total here, including the very large elimination match that has a surprise entrant, because we have one of the medallions, I believe, out of... currently not in play, so one of them was gifted to someone, and the winner of that match will face a mystery opponent for the first championship. So that is kind of the play that we're building on, but we do some other story elements here in the meantime as well. Let's go ahead and let's look at the show and see how it panned out. We start the show off with Drago and Dragon Lee versus Killshot Nero and Leo Rush. Pretty solid. 46 is not horrible, all things considered. Dragon Lee was the standout of the bunch, but Leo Rush put some work in as well. Drago actually dragging it down a little bit. But overall, good reaction from the crowd. Subpar wrestling. Drago defeats Killshot Nero and Leo Rush. Drago pins Leo Rush with a running, twisting moonsault plancha. And Killshot Nero was the weakest link here. Got the show off to a strong start and got the crowd buzzing. After that, we have a quick promo in Spanish from Drago and Dragon Lee. Very simple one, just saying that he's not afraid of Guatemala and that, he was taken by surprise, but it won't be the same this next time, and that he is no prey, but a predator. So The Dragon group here seems to be calling out Guatemala, who is in the elimination match, so obviously will not be involved in anything at this point, though Drago's commentary does very poorly because he struggles without having a script to follow. Good to know for the next time. Meanwhile, during this event here, we have Big Rick watching the match from sort of the depths of gorilla position. Nice. And of course, this isn't any gorilla position. The Azteca Underground gorilla position is dark and dank and drippy and musty. It's just not nice looking. It's like a tunnel. And in that tunnel, he hears a sort of a crack and a splash of water from a puddle. He hears a footstep behind him approaching awfully close. And with that sound, he turns around in just a snap and grasps on the person that's approaching him. His big hand wrapped around the neck and lifting up Tejano. Tejano tries to kind of placate him, taking his hands up and going, whoa, amigo, I'm just here to talk. His voice strained as he gasps for air after hanging as Big Rick holds him up by the neck, kind of squeezing down on his windpipe a little bit. Rick drops him down, kind of now having gotten the drop on him, feeling a little bit more comfortable face to face. He goes, "What do you want?" Tejano says, "The truth. Dario gave me a lot of money to make you quiet, and I think you know that already." Big Rick's not surprised the slightest, but more surprised that Tejano's telling him. And he goes, "Why would you even tell me that?" And Tejano smirks, "Because I don't trust him. Less than even I trust you. But you seem to know him. You seem to know there's something here going on. And you seem to know what's at the center of it. And that terrifies him. And I want to know what it is." Rick just laughs. Just, it's hard to explain. You know the feeling of deja vu? When you feel like you've done the same thing before in that moment, and all of a sudden you snap back to reality, and you're not sure whether you've relived this event or not. But maybe it's not just a trick of the mind. You know what I mean? See, he knows something that I know, something I discovered. And he will silence me to keep it quiet. If I could give you some advice, just stay out of the way, for your own safety. Rick walks away, and Tejano watches him leave, unsure of really what to truly do next. Though he glances down at his own side and looks upon a large hunting knife that's in a sheath. Looks back up to Rick as he walks away, and he just kind of mutters, "We will see, my friend." Tejano, unsure of what to do next. Big Rick seemingly implicating that he feels like he's done this all before. It seems like he knows something that's going on. Unfortunately, we lose heat for this segment. Tejano and Rick just don't quite mesh in terms of the story beats here. Gets us a 33, but we do advance the storyline of an impossible return. And we have an unsure of where the trajectory is going to go between Tejano and Rick. Will Tejano silence Rick and shut him up permanently? Will he give him time to talk? Will he flip? We really don't know what's going on at this point. All we know is that Big Rick is basically implying that there is something much bigger going on than what it seems. Dario announced for the remaining matches of the night that the next match, well, obviously before the elimination match, will be a Falls Count Anywhere match. Gets us a quick pop because Dario's so great on the microphone, and said no holds barred. Falls Count Anywhere match. Technically, holds are barred. It's very poor, unfortunately. Gets us a 38, but we have Holly Leckman versus Superfly. It's a 10-minute match. Holly actually beats Superfly after getting up to the top of the manager's box. There's sort of a office. If you've ever seen how the Lucha Underground Temple is, there's sort of this room, sort of like a factory worker's manager's office on the second, the third floor, the factory floor. And they fight their way up and out and up to the top of that before getting the pin up there. Holly has a 36. Superfly has an abysmal 29. Unfortunately, Matt Striker and Vampiro have good chemistry, though, when calling the match, so that's good. Does get the crowd hotter. Afterwards, we have Holly and Superfly on the top of the manager's roof. And Superfly winces, shocked at the sudden determination behind Holly and losing that pinfall. He gets up to pat himself off, still kind of hurt. Behind Holly, Genevieve LaRue appears climbing up to the manager's rooftop as well to look down at Holly. And words are not spoken between two of them, but there's an intent in LaRue's eyes, looking and peering upon Holly, and it kind of says, this is the time, and Holly knows it. Holly changes her demeanor, which goes from that nice girl-next-door attitude to suddenly having a face of determination, maybe a hint of sinisterness, and a feeling of regret in his eyes. He looks sad, like when someone takes an animal that they love to the shelter, knowing it'll be their last time, kind of thing. This terrifies Superfly as she stares into him. He backs up closer and closer she comes, and he keeps on moving forward or backwards until there's nowhere else to go. His feet precariously at the edge of the ledge here of the rooftop. She gets up close and sighs, ends up smiling at him as he pats him on the shoulder as a sign of good sportsmanship. She just can't do what she's supposed to do. She turns to look at LaRue, who's clearly displeased with the situation. And there was a pause before Holly turns around again. And Superfly couldn't react in the time that Holly turned around. Those eyes of Holly now dark and without remorse, kind of that last moment of goodness escaping her. And with a swift single hand, she pushes against his chest, and with his feet already just off the ledge, tips him over, and he falls 3 stories to his death. We have the first confirmed death of Azteca Underground. Superfly could not have survived this fall. The temple has always craved blood, and it has received its first offering. And Holly has embraced the darkness that LaRue has asked for, and has done what no one has done up to this point so far, and has offered that blood offering. We get a 32 for this segment, unfortunately. And meanwhile, in the darkness, we have a camera creeping up. We don't know where this is, but it's completely pitch black. And in the center, a dead body laying still. A masked figure, its eyes closed in that eternal slumber. As we crawl up to the face, we get deep to those closed eyes before they flicker open again. Perhaps the offering has awoken something else other than just a darkness inside Holly, as we see this figure reemerge. This gets a 47, does very well. Why is this Big Rick here? That's wrong. It's supposed to be Bestia. Oh well. Dario reveals the death medallion holder before the match, and it's Bestia Jr., Pentagon, who's in the match, clearly upset by this. We still don't know what their relationship is, but presumably going to be something that we build upon shortly. And in the match, or sorry, it's not Bestia, it's Demonia. I forgot we changed his name. That's probably why Big Rick showed up, because I couldn't find his name on there. AJ Hammerstone versus the Mac versus Son of Havoc versus Sexy Star versus Pentagon Jr. versus Guatemala versus Demonio Jr. Absolute cluster of a match. It's supposed to be an elimination match, but this looks like it's actually just a 7-way. Obviously, you can kind of figure a lot of people end up distracting each other. Pentagon's definitely restricted by Demonia's presence and kind of a large feud between them. At some point, Hammerstone is able to get a advantage and ends up apparently pinning Demonia, perhaps after being distracted by Pentagon Dark, but using the ropes for leverage, and ends up becoming the first Gifts of the God champion, which allows him to challenge for the currently vacant Azteca Underground Championship. This match is okay. It's a 52. It does fairly well. We advanced some storylines in this. Demonio seemed a little off his game and got the crowd buzzing. And finally, as Hammerstone defeats everybody and gets the Gifts of the God Championship draped upon him, Dario comes out and says that you have a great hurdle against you because for the challenge, I have for you the ultimate challenger, Matanza, my brother. Matanza, the monstrous serial killer looking man, comes out to the shock of Hammerstone. This person looks barely human, with a sick serial killer like mask covering his face, and certainly not the challenge that Hammerstone wanted. That glee from winning quickly subsides, and a total horror fills his face as he sees what his challenge lies ahead for him. Matanza gets a great for his gimmick, and we advance the story of Hammerstone, and boy, he's in for a world of reckoning. Show is a 45, does fairly okay, and obviously we advance the story fairly well, and we kind of know what's going on. So interesting stuff with Holly turning to that darkness, potentially that darkness awakening Mil Muertes, which is what Catalina wanted. So inadvertently getting that bloodlust, and we'll have to see how that plays out. And meanwhile, Big Rick continuing to allude that he knows much more than he's showing, and that Dario knows that. And of course, we have our first fatality. Superfly is gone, has died in the ring, killed by Holly. Definitely an eventful episode. Even though we didn't have a lot of matches, we definitely moved the needle in terms of the story here, and we'll have to see what the ramifications of this match are in the next episode. But after that, let's go ahead and let's get to the post wrap-up here. Do have some mail. We just want to check real quick. Just our viewing figures are low. But that is to be expected. It's not something that's that shocking. We may have to, well, first of all, we need to remove Superfly, because he is legit dead now. Release him from the contract. He will not be the only one, but we're down one more person. That doesn't mean that we won't hire some other people, but as of right now, that is one person down as a cost of the show, as the temple craves blood and it gets the blood, and we said in the beginning that characters can permanently leave Azteca Underground, and certainly Superfly has done that. Well, thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you for another episode of Azteca Underground. Have a great one.